Everybody get quiet. I heard that.
No, see nothing.
What else we got? Bill.
This is actually not the most up-to-date version of the attendance because Brian Keating is now, Joan Ladick is here and is no, Brian Keating is not a member, and Jane Wellman is not a member any longer either.
Okay. Who we have printed on that list? That's fine.
We have nobody from Tewksbury,
Let me
right?
see if I can find an updated.
Nobody from Western,
Oh, it hasn't been updated. Okay, it hasn't been updated yet.
and nobody from Dunstable. From what I see.
Kim is on from Kingsborough.
Who?
And so is Ron.
Okay.
So is Ron.
Yeah, I'm here too. Hello, everybody. I've been here the whole time.
Yep.
Hi, Ron.
I represent Tingsboro too.
Are you
Thanks for
sure?
showing. Kim's from Tingsboro, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good, looking. There it is, Kim O'Brien. Okay. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 6 communities also. Okay.
Yep, you have a quorum.
You ready to start?
Sure.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, welcome everyone to NMCOG's meeting tonight, February 19th, at 7 o'clock sharp. And first thing is to call the meeting to order. Who's doing roll call?
That's me.
Okay,
All right. Marlies,
Yes, I'm here.
Pat,
Here.
Heather,
From you, Heather.
Heather,
I'm here.
you are here. Okay. I thought I saw you. Jim.
Here.
Oops, I'm sorry. I thought you said Jim. I'm here.
I said Jim.
Oh,
Sorry, Wilkie.
Jim Wilkie. Jim Wilkie. Wayne Janess.
Here.
I am here. Hello.
Okay. Yes, we heard you. Thank you. Joan,
here.
Stephen,
yeah, yeah.
Ron,
Hello.
Kimberly,
Here.
and oh, I'm sorry, and Phil.
Yeah.
My apologies, Phil.
No
Did I miss anybody?
I don't think so.
Good job, me.
Ken?
Okay,
You did,
all right.
you did good so far away.
And I feel very far away, and I don't know why.
Okay.
I'm going to share the agenda and just note that we have a quorum, so we're ready to get started. But before we do the meeting minutes, Stephen, I would like to introduce 2 of our newest staff members. We have Apple Gould Schultz, and we also have, do we have everybody?
Yes, Emmanuel's here.
And okay, Emmanuel Regassa, and they are both 2 new transportation planners. We're so excited that they're here at NMCOG, and I want to give each of them an opportunity to introduce themselves, a little bit about their background and what they're going to be working on at NMCOG right now. So maybe we'll start with Apple, and then we'll go into the room, Emmanuel. So Apple.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Like Jenny said, my name is Apple. I am one of the 2 new transportation planners. I have a background in environmental science and geographic information science. I just graduated with my master's from Clark University last May. I will be working on general cyclist and pedestrian access and expansion in the greater Lowell region. I'm also working with Carlin right now on traffic volumes reports, and we've just kicked off the tip, so diving right into that.
Excellent. Thank you, Apple. and welcome again.
Yeah.
And
Hello,
Nicole?
everyone. My name is Aman Ragasa, and I have a master's degree in transport policy and planning. And I have experience working in transport research, transport policy and planning, design, also a little bit of project management in highway design and build projects. And I have a very good experience working in road safety projects. And I'm really excited to be here. I've been working on the Greater Lowell Vision Zero plan, the bike pedestrian plan. And we are also just started working on the transport improvement program. So I'm like really excited to be here and thank you.
Okay. Welcome, man. Welcome, Apple. Thank you. We appreciate all your future work. Because I know we need help.
All their work already.
Transportation. So, yeah, thank you for joining. Appreciate it. From all
Yeah,
of
and I
us.
just want to make sure, Kelly, did you have anything you wanted to add or say?
And just to say that, and Apple started in January, Manual started in early February, and they've already contributed a lot to the team already. So I'm just very excited to see, and just the work that they've been doing with Blake and kind of already getting to know other people on the team. I'm really excited to see how sort of our new full team of NMCOG is shaping out. And I think we have a lot of great work ahead of us, and I'm really excited to be working with them on some of these really big projects that are coming up over the next year. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for signing that 5-year contract.
All right, great. Thank you. I'll reshare the agenda.
Okay,
Would you like a motion, Mr. Chair?
yep,
Motion to accept the January 15 minutes?
you have a second? Second. Okay,
I have
Can we say the person who made the motion and the
Yeah.
person seconded, please?
Marlies and Phil second,
yep.
but there's discussion.
And now we're doing discussion. So, yeah.
Okay, on page 4 at the very top,
Great. Okay,
under counselor, it says, that on January 27th, we'll consider the zoning bylaw amendment to address gun stores. That's not what the special town meeting is for. It was for,
Ooh,
to bring our bylaws in compliance with, ADUs.
ADUs, of course.
Yeah, that sounds like gun stores.
That sounds nothing like what was written. Let's make sure those two things don't go together.
In that case. Okay, so that'd be a
Thank you.
correction to the minutes? Yeah.
Was that
Okay.
it, Pat?
Yes, that's all I have.
So the motion as amended
Yes, please.
by Marlies.
Yep. And seconded by Phil. Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, we need to do roll call.
Yes, Marlies,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes,
Heather,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jim,
Abstain, I wasn't there.
Wayne,
Yes.
Joan,
Abstain.
Stephen,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Kimberly,
I wasn't present, so
abstain. Okay, thank you. All
Okay,
set.
motion passes. Thank you. Okay, we move on to financial report and the warrant. Sarah?
Hello, everybody.
Hello?
Well, let's see here. Everything is back to normal, still normal. We've got a vendor warrant in the amount of 97,133.53 and 2 payroll warrants estimated at 88,340.11, and that brings us to a total of 185,473.64. And I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Any questions for Sarah on the financial statements? Okay, hearing none. Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved by Marlies.
Have a second?
Wayne Kness.
Okay, Wayne, thank you. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Marlies,
Yes.
Pat,
yes,
Heather,
yes.
Phil,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes,
Wayne,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Kimberly.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Financials, motion is passed. Let's move on to the federal executive orders and funding impact on NMCOG. Jenny? Or Kelly? We'll talk about it.
Yeah, actually, Kelly, I might ask you to just do the jumping off point because you had talked with the officers and I missed that meeting, unfortunately. And then
Yeah.
I'll take it from there.
Yeah, so really the point of having this on the agenda item is that as most of you know, the majority of NMCOG's funding comes from the federal government through our contract. It's MassDOT is the pass through for our contract, and so the US DOT is really where we get about 75 to 80% of our annual funding. With the executive orders that were issued in January, there was definitely discussion about whether or not that would impact our federal funding. We have, one of the things we discussed with our officers last week was just the approach that we are taking to how we are looking at that. And so what we have done is that we have reached out to our federal partners and our state partners at MassDOT to try to get any understanding that we can about what the impact of those executive orders would be. As many of you probably know, that the halt on the distribution of federal funding was that was rescinded in the courts, and so as of this moment, we are continuing to receive federal funding. We are paying close attention because we have not received any further guidance from our federal or state partners. I actually had a call with MassDOT today. And as part of that call, I was asking if they had received any federal guidance. They have not yet received any federal guidance. So with the MPO, we have a number of things that we are advancing that are in line with our currently adopted plans. Some of those plans talk about equity and inclusion. They also talk about climate resilience. Because we have not received any guidance from the federal government issuing anything otherwise, we are continuing to advance that work because it is in line with our current plans. And I don't want to guess at what the administration is saying with regard to those activities. And so until or unless we receive guidance otherwise, we're going to proceed with the things that we have already stated. And then the other thing that we discussed with the officers is just that we are working internally on any funding scenarios. Should there be any temporary or longer period interim where we aren't receiving that federal funding. So that's just something that we are working on internally, so that we can understand what reserves we have in the bank and how that would look should there be any temporary or permanent stoppage in federal funding. Jenny, that's pretty much what we discussed last week. If there's anything you want to add to that, please feel free.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that overview. It's really helpful. And also knowing, and to communicate to the council members that we are, actively engaging with all of our partners to get, as much direction and guidance as possible. The most important thing is really a directive, and that's what we await. Right now, all of the communications have happened between federal agencies. There has not been a lot of direct communication just yet to grantees, with one exception. So for us, that's really the Economic Development Administration. They provided funding directly to NMCOG in order for us to do the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, or the CEDS, which we talked about that at a couple of meetings now, and we have an upcoming great summit planned in March. And the directive that we received from EDA, as an example, and possibly illustrative or informative in terms of what might happen next with other federal partners, the guidance from EDA about how to develop a CEDS was amended. And all that they did was simply remove the requirement of including equity and climate in the CEDS document itself. That it is not required, but not that we can't still think about or do anything about those two things and how they intersect with the work and with the regional, CEDS that we're going to be developing. So nothing more than an updated guidance document at this time from that particular agency for that particular planning process. But to really, with every other regional planning agency, every metropolitan planning organization across the country, every council of governments, pretty much every type of entity that you can imagine, we're all wondering and waiting what exactly will happen next. And I think that what we're anticipating is something similar to what we just saw with EDA, is an amendment to the guidance documents, probably amendments to contracts in the future. And then as we look at the next federal funding year, which starts October 1st, probably some very different ways of approaching policy and programs, and possibly changes to how they do formula funding, which is, will be a long process and probably involve, some levels of discussion, although it's hard to tell based upon the way the administration has been operating. The types of executive orders that, there's been many executive orders by this administration in an extraordinarily short period of time. The ones that relate to NMCOG are everything from things that relate to accountability in government, to diversity, equity, and inclusion, to climate, to accountability across different agencies. And we imagine that there's a lot of internal memos and discussions that are happening at the federal level that point to likely changes to formula funding in the future. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's an immediate impact on NMCOG, but because we are very, we're planners and we also care about the work in our region, we care about our team. We are doing everything that we can to figure out the best approach forward and create a contingency plan should things change or rapidly change, worst case scenario, so that we're best prepared. And so with that in mind, I have been working with Sarah and others on the team to evaluate all of our federal grants, look at all of the, what we're planning to do with the federal funding, and also get a sense of, how to both stagger our federal and state funding and other sources over the course of time, and also to figure out exactly what we have in our reserves should we need to utilize those. Anything that happens next as a result of any executive orders or directives that we receive from the federal government, that will be communicated to the council at some future meeting, or if it's more quickly than that, by through an email communication. And if any type of emergency meeting is necessary in order to be even more quickly responsive to any directives, then we'll be in touch with you at that time. But I wanted to make sure that, both, you had an opportunity to understand how we were responding to what's going on at the federal level, because 3/4 of the funding for our agency is from the federal government. So it's a very significant potentially change to our organization. And I wanted to keep that both on your radar and keep you informed, but also give you, through this meeting, the opportunity to ask any questions. And if I don't have the answer right now, or if Kelly doesn't have the answer, then to bring it back to you at the next meeting. So I think that's really, for now, the most that I wanted to communicate. I'm glad to also, if you have a specific question about a specific executive order or anything like that, I'm glad to try to answer as well. I have been doing a lot of reading and trying to also, read the room of what might be happening next. And that's very hard to predict. I think we're all, if you're in local government, you should be thinking about this as well. Because this has a big impact on your schools, your transportation, and probably your quality of life. So I would definitely encourage you to look at what's being communicated at the federal level and think about how that might have an impact locally as well. So I'm glad to, Stephen, I'm glad to answer any questions. Stephen, you also were, and others who were at the other meeting where this was discussed, if there's anything else to share, this may be the time to do that as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. Any questions from anybody in the audience? Sure, there's more to come, so we'll wait and hear and see. Thank you. Okay, NMCOG bylaws update. You want to talk about that, Jenny? And we can add some conversation to that from, I guess, me and Pat.
I don't think we have a lot of an update because we ended up not having our meeting in advance of this meeting. So I think we put that on the agenda when we were still planning to have our meeting. So I don't think there's really much to update on the bylaws right now. Our next,
Yeah.
the bylaw committee meeting was actually moved to next Friday, the next Friday. And so at the next meeting in March, we'll have a more robust update.
Okay, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, thank you. Executive Director's report.
All right. All right, so I was so glad to welcome our new staff again and still welcoming them. As you can see, there's more information in the report about each of them. And just kind of continuing in this vein on transportation planning, as I mentioned, and Kelly also mentioned at our last meeting, we had a lot of documents that were put out for public comment through the NMCOG, and that includes a new public participation plan, the memorandum of understanding that is between the MPO, MassDOT, and the LRTA and NMCOG. Also, some updates to the transportation evaluation criteria and an amendment to the FFY 2025 UPWP, as well as amendments to the Transportation Improvement Program. So a lot of things have been out for comment. We did have a public hearing. I don't think that we had any attendance at that public hearing. And next week, the MPO meets to bring those, all but the public participation plan to a conclusion. And so I anticipate that means that we'll have a new MOU with all of our partners. And we also may have new transportation evaluation criteria for the next version of the TIP, which is also under development. And that's the next thing that I wanted to mention, which is that staff are currently working with MassDOT and all of our communities, all of you and your engineers, DPW directors, planning staff, and others who participate in this process with us annually, as well as district highway staff on developing the next federal fiscal year's TIP, which is from 2026 to 2030. And what that means is we're getting an understanding of where local projects might be at, and whether, it's called readiness, whether they're actually ready to proceed in the next year, the next federal year or not. And it may result in moving around projects, also getting an understanding of how much funding we might have available for other types of projects, whether they're our projects that are important to our region or projects that are relevant to MassDOT or the LRTA. So that is also going to be forthcoming. At the next MPO meeting, also there's the brief presentation about the updates on all of these items. So if you want to learn more, you are welcome to attend that meeting. The other thing that I wanted to mention is we are, I think, next week kicking off the regional bike and pedestrian plan with Tool Design. We're really excited to be able to work with Tool. They're an excellent consulting firm, a lot of experience in bicycle and pedestrian planning and understanding of the type of infrastructure that's needed, and can also help to advise in situations where it might be tricky to install infrastructure where there isn't currently any, and develop a better network across our region to be able to rely on the ability to not just drive, but to have other options for getting around. So that project kickoff begins next week. Also, with our traffic counting program, Apple has really taken this on in a wonderful way, and we posted the traffic counting RFP, which means that we're looking for a consultant who will assist us with this next upcoming season of traffic counts. And thanks to Kelly and I think Carlin and Apple, we've really tried to do the best job that we can to figure out exactly the locations. And actually, Kelly, can you talk about that for a second?
Yeah. So we actually went through and really tried to make sure that anything that was in our Greater World Vision Zero plan, that we're doing traffic counts on any priority project locations or any place where we want to do a road safety audit. To make sure that we have a good understanding of baseline conditions there. We're also doubling down and making sure that we have traffic counts that are being taken in any potential or actual upcoming tip project. And we've also reached out to a number of our communities to find out if there are any additional locations. So I think in addition to that, Apple and Carlin have done a really good job in making sure that we're also doing traffic counting locations anywhere there is a MBTA communities district. Because, you know, whenever people are proposing zoning changes, there's always a concern about traffic. So it's definitely important for us to really be able to understand any real versus perceived impacts of traffic changes as a result of any proposed development. So that's kind of been what we're looking at as far as traffic count locations.
And how many counts do you think we'll have, like, as extra?
So we'll have an
Usually,
extra.
like, through the course of a year, sometimes we get these requests, sometimes from some of you, and that's why I wanted to bring this up.
Yeah, we start with 100 counts, but we have our consultant on board for 120. So that way there are always, you know, occasional ad hoc counts that are requested by our communities, and we like to be able to accommodate that. So if you have any additional requests, please reach out to Carlin or me, and we'll try to make sure that those are incorporated into the program between May and October, which is when we do the counts.
Great. And we just posted the RFP, so we think we'll get a contract signed like
Mid-March.
March. Okay.
Yeah, and then that consultants cannot start before May 1, so that's when everything starts.
Great. Thank you. So yes, so if you have roadways that you're not sure about and you want to make sure there's a traffic count on them, you know, again, we get requests sometimes throughout the year, and just giving you a sense of the timing that we operate on so that we can hopefully meet your request. And if we can't meet it through right now, then just we'll be able to plan for it in the future when we're actually out there in your community, laying down, you know, the things that are necessary to perform the counts. So I think I reported on the bus stop inventory previously, and also our call for planning assistance and project ideas. We're really in the process of contracting now with each of your communities. I'm glad that my messages about all of the project assistance that we're going to be able to perform was met with a lot of delight and happiness from all of you. I know that it is really exciting when we get to move forward with these projects. And what I want to say about that is I hope you stay involved. You know, sometimes I send out those messages, and I know that I have not always included all of the council members on those messages, but I know that some of you do stay engaged because you might be on the select board or you're on another body where you might have an approval, you know, a part in an approval or a review process. But I just want to say that the work that we perform in your communities as council members, if there are ways for you to stay engaged and involved in our project work, that would be wonderful to see you at, you know, meetings, or if there's other ways that you can get involved during the process, we would love to see you there. So be on the lookout for any of those opportunities. We are still in the process of trying to hire the regional housing coordinator and actually starting our first interviews in the next couple weeks. So I'm looking forward to that process where probably the staff person will start at the end of next month, and hopefully introducing that person to the council in April. Also, we've been going to, I think we've now completed maybe 4 meetings, and we have 2 more next week, where we are talking with select boards, and usually it's the select board and an affordable housing committee or trust or partnership, whatever it might be called in your community, and also planning boards who are attending the meeting and giving staff an opportunity, particularly Chris and Kelly, Chris Hayes and Kelly, to talk about the at-home and Greater Lowell regional housing strategy, speak a little bit about the data and the background of the project, and also talk about the strategies themselves to get some input and feedback. And so far we have had some important feedback along the way, and that'll help us to shape the next phase of this project, which is kicking off very soon. One thing I want to note on this project that we changed is, while in the first phase we had been working with the University of Massachusetts Donahue Institute, particularly around data collection and analysis, we have made the decision in the second phase that we will only utilize UMDI as a consultant as like sort of a strategic advisor, but that due to the changes with, or potential changes with federal funding, the state grant was actually awarded to NMCOG, and we thought that it made more sense to keep those funds in-house and to be able to utilize them for our own staff time in order to not offload that to a consultant and potentially lose those funds. So, so that is the shift that's happening with that project. We also will be engaging another storytelling consultant to help us to build out that next phase of work. As you heard about at the last meeting, we have been, thank you again for your support in thinking through, different types of individuals who we could interview through with the assistance of Fourth Economy, our consultant on this project with the SEDS. We are preparing now for what is called the Greater Lowell Stronger Together plan instead of just the SEDS. And a bit of what I hope is a really strong economic summit that will be on March 20th. And as you can see in the report here, there is a link to take a short survey that'll help us to figure out the topics and the timing of when those topics will be discussed during the day of the summit. So if you are interested in participating, or if you wanted to share this with people in your communities to also participate, that would be great. Also, if you can just share the opportunity in general through any of your social media, we would also appreciate that. We also, we've been busy. Sorry, it's been a really busy month, but we also had signed a contract with Wright Pierce. They are an environmental planning consultant based in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, to assist us with this really quick phase 1 study for the Northern Middlesex Stormwater Collaborative. This was the funding that we received through the EPA, or rather the Department of Environmental Protection, I'm sorry, which is funding a study to look at stormwater assets and collaborative mapping. That project is actually going to wrap up at the end of this fiscal year, which is the end of June. So we're excited that we're moving forward with that. And the director's report actually notes that there is a new EPA general permit for stormwater. The comments had been due on February 20th. They actually have been postponed to sometime in May. And so we are not currently developing a comment letter just now on that, but we will be on behalf of NMCOG and the Northern Middlesex Stormwater Collaborative. The next thing I want to note is that we have wrapped up a full draft of the Tingsboro Housing Production Plan and anticipate bringing that to the Planning Board and Select Board next month. And staff, Apple and Kelly, I think primarily, have been working with the town of Dunstable. This is a project that's actually funded by the town through the Community Preservation Act, I believe. And this CPA funded project is to look at the potential of developing a town center community path and to get a sense of, what we might be able to do next by submitting a grant application through the Mass Trails program. And hopefully to be able to develop designs, the beginning stages of a design process for specific or prioritized sections of the community path based upon what different abutters and other people in the community think is important in order to have that connectivity. And then lastly, NMCOG submitted a comment letter to MEPA, the Massachusetts Environmental Protection Act, through for the 37 Powers Road development in Westford. I think I had mentioned this also at our prior meeting, and that was a project. This is the first development going forward that is in the MBTA communities zoning district. And so we were glad to be able to submit a comment letter. It's the very beginning stage of a MEPA process, so I'm sure there will be many more opportunities to comment on a very large project in the town. And so with that, I'm glad to answer any questions. Stephen.
Questions for Judy? Online?
Said a lot.
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
I'll look up there.
Marlies.
Sorry.
Jenny, you mentioned the Bay Circuit Trail and that the AMC shared GIS information. I looked on the website for Bay Circuit to see what the new information is. And they had indeed continued the trail, marked the trail now that goes through Andover in the direction of Tewksbury and Billerica. And I asked them with a CC to Jane to also extend it where it goes from the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail parking through the UKG towards that Target Plaza.
Mhm.
So Jane confirmed that. The thing is, yeah, I'm eager to see it go through Billerica too. There is a proposal, but it's going so slowly. I guess it has to be approved by the town before it can be on that
Yes.
GIS.
That's
Yeah.
accurate. Yep. Was,
Thank you.
if you have a
for
question about that,
confirming that.
yes, that would be the process. If you do have a question about that specific project or section of that of my report, I would encourage you to contact Carlin Andrus, who is our GIS and data program manager, and he can give you any updates about his the various regional trail mapping that he's been doing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Melis, thank you. Anything else? Any more questions to Jenny? Okay, thanks, Jenny, for the Deputy Director's
welcome.
report. I appreciate it. Let's move on to community exchange. So brief comments from those in attendance and on Zoom about any projects maybe going on in your community, any events. So we can start with Billerica. Melis?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have that much.
Sorry.
I don't think, just the planning board, we discussed the ADU law, the state law, and the consensus on the planning board was to wait and see. So ADU is allowed by right.
Right.
It's a little bit more work for the building inspector and the ZBA maybe, but we didn't want to make another bylaw or change it. We have in-law apartment bylaws, we're not gonna get rid of those because it's kind of different. Because in-law apartments are for in-laws and you have the restriction that when people move, it's over and ADUs continue. So they were too different to, we decided to not do anything with it.
Okay.
But we did compare. Chelmsford has a different, Burlington has a different. Tewksbury has a very nice sheet where it explains exactly what can be done. So it explains, oh, this is what you can now do. How? So I thought that was a good idea. And maybe we'll do that too, while they're working on it. I have a question about the strategic plan that we approved. Does it get printed or is there a link that you can send?
We're finalizing the formatting in the next week and along with the rebrand, so that will be shared shortly.
And the logo?
Yeah, we're finalizing that shortly too. So we just kicked off our new website update, and so we are like on a strict deadline for getting all of that stuff done. So very soon. Yeah.
So you'll send the logos out eventually, different depictions.
We're never gonna tell you what it is.
No, I think we left that as we've received our input at this point, and we'll see if we have a priority, and if there's anything lingering that we need to ask anybody about, we will be in touch with you. So the goal is that we're going to issue the strategic plan once we have the branding completed. And we just started the website process. Actually, the kickoff just happened, which is really exciting to be able to update our website. Sounds very 90s of me, but you've seen our website, then you understand. Anyway, so the website's so exciting. But we are, the two tie together, and we are absolutely, we're glad to send the draft, the plan that was adopted, but just realize it wouldn't be formatted, which may not be the most important thing. But that's what we are in the background. That's what we're trying to work on, is make sure it's well formatted and really ready to go, and that there's no confusion over one version versus the other. So if you can wait, we'll be back to you very soon with the full final draft.
Okay, Elise, can you wait?
Yeah, no, right. Don't rush a little.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from,
No, thank you.
Selectmen?
There must be 250s committee, but I don't know anything about it.
Okay, appreciate the update. Chelmsford, Pat?
Yeah, just a couple of things, as has been mentioned, we did have a special town meeting in Chelmsford last month to update our bylaws to go, come in line with what the state has mandated for ADUs. Basically, that causes to eliminate what we call LAAs, limited accessory apartments, which are like the in-law apartments. So, we wanted to do that because by doing that, we were able to put some restrictions on the bylaw, so that we felt were critical. So we'll see how that goes. And the only other thing I wanted to mention was, Joseph has signed a memorandum of agreement with the towns of Westford and Tewksbury to do weights and measures.
Oh, really?
So,
Oh,
and supposedly they've, if not hired already, they identified somebody that will do it, so.
in Tewksbury.
Well, it's, the person will be working in Chelmsford, but Tewksbury and Westford, the three of us will, 3 towns will have that.
Yeah, keep it posted on it. I'm just curious to see how that all works out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
for
will.
the rest of us. I don't know what's going on, but I appreciate that. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, Dre, you can start with Heather. You have anything you want to make an announcement, Heather?
Sure. I feel like I bring the same announcements every month, but we have the new town manager and she started to talk about the budgets and the deficits, looking to introduce a trash fee in Drake-it. MBTA Communities was defeated in November. We are bringing back the same exact proposal to town meeting in June, hoping for a different result. The Campbell School proposal, where I'm in the school committee / board of selectmen subcommittee, and they're bringing that to us to unveil on Monday. So I'll have more to report next time. And election season is upon us, so that always gets very interesting. And I don't know if Phil has anything else to add.
Bill?
I'll add that, the zoning bylaw review committee has put together a bylaw for ADUs, which will to some degree replace the in-law suites.
There you go.
And what I like, an additional part that I like about it is that it actually addresses the transference of previous special permits to the ADUs. So they've outlined a process to essentially take care of the special units that are kind of special permits that are lingering, and gives them an avenue to essentially become a by right accessory dwelling unit. So I think that's a good point.
Okay, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Dunstable, Jim?
Yeah, thank you. Special thanks to Jenny, Chris, and Kelly, who presented to the joint planning board and select board. And I think what you find is people that have been in Dunstable for 70 or 80 years, they want Dunstable to stay just like Dunstable is. And with a lot of changes, they don't accept change very easily. I've actually advised them you're better off taking part in controlling the change rather than letting change happen upon you. Anyway, we've already had we've had for years, for decades, the right to build an accessory dwelling unit. But the question came up, if somebody wants to rent that out, can it be added to the SHI, the subsidized housing inventory, if it meets the requirements? Does anybody know the answer to that?
I do.
Yeah.
My husband was on the Affordable Housing Committee, and for you to add an ADU to be a like restricted amount to be paid, you have to put that on the deed and restrict
Okay.
the deed, and it has to be permanent. So
It's permanent.
once it's done, it cannot be rescinded even if you sell.
Okay,
You
so
want to just check into that. Yeah.
the designation of the ADU as a rental in the
Yep.
SHI is permanently affixed to the deed.
If it's a lower income property, like if it's, say you're putting someone in there and it's an affordable housing unit,
Yeah.
you have to make sure it's on the deed permanently.
Okay.
Of course, that wouldn't
Now,
happen
does
if
any?
it was a relative. If you're renting to a relative, you can rent to a relative.
Yeah, but nonetheless, if we wanted to get our SHI inventory up, which still stands at 0.
Yeah.
I know. So well, I forgot what I was going to say. Had a corollary question. All right, go on, and if I remember, I'll bring it back up. Sorry.
Well, what it is a lot of people had thought that it might be a nice idea because an ADU is a small little unit, and maybe someone would come in and they'd be able to afford it, and they wanted to be able to rent it, and right away it was brought up that in order to do that, you would have to restrict it. And people don't want to do that because they're thinking down the road, maybe I would want to sell it. And that might be a restriction on the sale of the building because you've got this affordable housing restriction that's permanent.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I remember thank you very much, Joan. I remembered what I was going to ask, which is, does anybody know the calculation for the income limits for affordable housing? I think most of us are in the same region.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if Jim, if you want to contact me and our team tomorrow, we'd be happy to help you with.
That's great. Yeah, we have a builder that's building on. He's putting in 11 units, and struggling with. You and we've talked about this, Jenny.
Yes.
I'll just mention it briefly, and then we can move on. That this particular neighborhood, the builder is going to put in houses that he says will sell for 1.2 to 1.6 million. It doesn't matter. Be that as it may, it doesn't matter. It's very hard to make one of those homes sell for $400,000 or $385,000 because it has to look the same. And I've talked with Jenny about, can we divide it down the middle and have two $400,000 things? And we can't. At least for now, we can't. Wow. But in any event, we're trying hard to get our SHI up while maintaining the look and feel of the town and of the neighborhoods. And I'm sure we can find a way to do it. That's my primary angle. I'm just brainstorming with people on how we can accomplish that. Anyway, so thank you.
So Jim, you're saying that they can't do that because of zoning, right?
Well, we could change the zoning. The zoning's not an issue. Most people at a town meeting they as you probably know, that it's pretty easy to get a town meeting to vote yes. It's a matter of meeting the state requirement of the house itself has to have the same square footage, and it should not be distinguished on the exterior in any way different from the other houses in the neighborhood. And what I say to people is, I have a 6-year-old grandson, and I have this little thing that's a little U-shaped thing, and I can flick it to throw the ball to him. And it's kind of like one of those dog toys you see where you throw the ball to a dog, and it neutralizes his ability to throw it and my ability to throw it are the same. And that's what the affordable housing does. Is if you're a builder, you say, wow, if I'm going to sell one of these, 1 out of 6 for the affordable price, it's kind of neutralizing and holding down the value of the other homes that I can build. Or the builder has to build a $1.2 million house and then sell it for $385. So you're neutralizing the neighborhoods to say, well, let's only make them about 20% better than the SHI. And I want to find a way where we don't have to do that. We can have some neighborhoods that are entry level, first home buyers, some neighborhoods that are age in place, some neighborhoods that are 1.5 million. Why not? It's a nice tax base, and surely they're going to have kids that go to school. But if I can collect twice the tax on that home, and there are 2 or 3 kids in school, terrific. Anyway, that's those are the kinds of discussions that we're having at the
Thanks.
planning board and affordable housing level. Yeah, thanks very much. Sorry to go on.
No, let us know how you make out, really.
Will do.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, we'll move to Lowell. Wayne?
Sure, thank you. So
Welcome.
just a couple of things I just wanted to share with the group. Thing one is one of the things I mentioned at the last meeting about to become a designated front-runner city by the United Economic Forum, which is an arm of the UN. There was an MOU that was signed recently by the city manager and the mayor, and so it was officially the first city in the country to be accepted as front-runner cities program, and expect a more detailed announcement coming soon about what that means and what that's going to unlock here in the city of Lowell. But it's really an exciting development that could be transformational in the city. So it's very exciting to see that, and I encourage you to pay attention what that means as we move down the track here. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention is this weekend, Friday and Saturday, is Lowell's Winterfest, which is a nice big fun party, family oriented event. And like I said, Friday and Saturday, it's right in the heart of downtown. If you Google the Winterfest, you'll find the website with all the information. Those are the two big things I want to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. On that designated front-running city program, I know you don't have much information on it. Is that something that the city did on its own, or was that something they worked through NMCOG, or how was that all brought about? Do you know anything about the background?
Yeah, so that's started with the mayor going to a conference up in Toronto, and which Toronto is a front-runner city as well. And then they we're talking about what that meant for Toronto and the surrounding areas, and how they, worked with this program. And it was a lot of the same goals that we as a city are trying to reach, whether it's affordable housing, sustainability, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The list just kind of keeps going, and you look at it and you're like, okay, this is all the stuff we're trying to do. And so the mayor was really excited about that, and was basically tried to figure out how to get Lowell to be the first one in the country. And we were able to do that through the hard work of the manager, the mayor, and partnerships that were built based on those trips up to Canada. So
it's more like a planning model for the future of City of Lowell, basically.
Yeah, it's a planning model, and it's also a way to unlock, let's say, kind of some creative out of the box investment that many cities don't either don't try or don't have access to. It kind of puts us on another level, and it gives us an opportunity to really expose the city to a worldwide audience of potential investors and developers, and city planning and stuff like that. So it's really exciting.
Sounds great. Thanks for that. Okay, we can move on to Pepperell. Joan?
Hi, how are you? Well,
Great.
Pepperell's been very busy. We are going to be having a special town meeting on March 10, and on the warrant will be 2 override ballot questions. One is for North Middlesex Regional School, and one is for Neshoba Valley, because we can't afford them. And so we're asking for an override to try to help us out. It's not going to be a pleasant town meeting, I'm sure, but as many of you know, it's not easy with the school budgets, and it's really eking out a lot of our finances. On another note, the planning board is working on its table of uses for zoning. We're working with the GIS coordinator to do really beautiful maps to help us figure out where our zoning districts actually are. The only quandary we have, and if anybody has an answer to this, I would love to hear it. I would love to know what the definition of various zoning districts are, because we can't seem to find it. For example, what is the definition of urban zoning? What is like urban residential, suburban residential, industrial, commercial? I don't have any in any of our books that shows us like a little blurb of what those actually mean, so that as we're going through a rezoning process, we have an idea of what we're putting in each district. So if anybody has an idea, I'd love to hear from them. If you could let Jenny know and she could let me know, it would help us. I believe we're trying to come up with something like that. And I think that's about it.
Okay, yeah, talk with Jenny on that one. I thought we had a consultant Pepper still on retainer for some of that stuff with the planning originally for the Main Street.
No, that was
okay.
That was Ted Brovitz,
Right.
and he's gone. No.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that was last year. Yeah, he was done. His contract was finished last year. But we're working steadily trying to see what our zoning really should be now instead of what it could have been, like 30, 40 years ago, since there's a lot of building that's gone on in that time period.
Okay, thanks. I reported last time I was here that we were trying to do our 250th anniversary ceremony. We got snowed on, but we did have it on January 19th on a Sunday, and it was a well-attended event. We had probably close to 200 people there. We had like a candy kickoff blast, and we had Middlesex 6th Regiment there, firing their volleys. It was really well-attended, and it was a cold day. It was a snow-covered field. So we plowed, moved stuff around. And, but we had a good time, and it was well publicized in the Low Sun and the Sentinel Enterprise. So we're off and running, and now we start getting to all the different events for the next 9 months. And we have our actual birthday at 250th on August 23rd, 2025 for Pepperell. So if things come up, I'll let you know. But if you want to attend any of these events, just go on the town website and you'll see 250th. You just click on and all the events come up. You got like 14 different events. Everything from, comedy nights to trivia, everything, and, all different events to have the people in the town of Pepperell and surrounding communities just have a good time. Just trying to get a carnival in there, trying to do a flyover, all these kind of things, big July 4th parade with the July 4th committee, things of that nature. Again, we raised $90,000. We're putting it all to have one big party. So it's kind of nice, really. So no stress with that committee. Just, really no stress.
Yeah, you guys did a lot of work, though, I have to say. It's
Yeah, we started 2 years ago, so yeah. But anyway, I just want to report that, so thank you all. Tingsboro? Ron?
Hi, well, when somebody started talking about the budget, I guess I'll just give an update on our budget also. A couple months ago, we thought we were in really good shape, and now look like we're planning to squeak by. One of the unique situations we had this year is in order to get our middle school is we made a commitment to put $1 million of our operational budget into the school to reduce the tax impact of the taxpayer. Well, we went through a lot of scenarios. We had a worst case scenario, and I think we're in the worst case scenario this year. When our healthcare went up 17%, I think the only way we're going to balance the budget is take the money out of the roads. So in Tingsboro, roads are, almost the third rail. We're putting a lot of money from our operational budget into the roads, but I think we're going to have to shrink that probably by about 75%. But, and then with that, I think we're going to squeak by with a budget. But, that just means next year, the tighter you get now, you just got to be more cautious of next year. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay, thank you. Kim, you want to have any reports for Tingsboro?
Just real quick, the Affordable Housing Trust next week will be going to our Community Preservation Committee in order to request some funds to put together an emergency rental assistance program in town. So kind of excited to be able to start something like that.
Okay, thank you all. We'll move on to NMCOG reminders and announcements. We have MPO meeting February 26th at 2 p.m. hybrid Zoom at NMCOG. And then the next council meeting is going to be March 19th at 7 p.m. Again, hybrid or Zoom at NMCOG. Other than that, any other announcements, Jenny, you need to make? No? Okay.
No, I think the only other one was just March 20th, the next day after the next council
Oh,
meeting is the
yeah, that's
Economic
right.
Summit, just as another reminder.
Thank you.
But nothing else during the time between now and the next council meeting.
Okay, and then item number 9, other business not known at this time. Anybody have any? Okay, just need a motion to adjourn then.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Bye, Marlies.
Second, but not.
Okay, second by Pat. Any discussion? Anybody in favor?
Yeah.
Have a great night.
Thanks,
See you next
everybody.
month.
You
Thank you,
too.
Jenny.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Good night. Thank
Stay
you.
warm, everybody.
I know.
Bye.